Dr. Park Hana stood in the emergency command center, watching the alien fleet move closer to Earth. She had spent her whole life studying physics, but nothing had prepared her for this moment. Humanity's first contact with aliens was about to become humanity's last day. "Let me try talking to them," she said to Captain Song Yuna. "Maybe if I explain the science more clearly, they'll understand." Captain Song Yuna nodded and handed her the communication device. "Dr. Park, you have maybe 10 minutes before they start shooting. Make it count." Dr. Park Hana took a deep breath and spoke into the microphone. "This is Dr. Park Hana, Earth's chief theoretical physicist. I want to demonstrate that our FTL drive is safe. We're going to show you a small-scale version right now." In the underground laboratory, engineer Choi Minho had been working frantically to build a tiny version of the FTL drive. It was only the size of a basketball, but it used the same principles as the full-sized version. "Are you sure this is safe?" asked his assistant Nam Hyun. Choi Minho checked his calculations one more time. "It should be. The small version can only affect objects within a few meters. The worst that could happen is it tears a tiny hole in space for a few seconds." He activated the device, and a small section of space in front of it folded and twisted. A metal cube that they had placed as a test object disappeared for 3 seconds, then reappeared exactly where it had started. "Perfect," Dr. Park Hana said through the radio. "Send the video to the aliens immediately." The video transmission reached Admiral Zulthak's ship within minutes. He watched the demonstration with his science officers, hoping to see proof that the humans were telling the truth about peaceful transportation. Instead, he saw something that made his worst fears come true. "Did you see that?" his chief science officer whispered. "They just made matter disappear and reappear. They can unmake objects from reality." Admiral Zulthak watched the video again. To human eyes, it looked like a simple demonstration of folded space transportation. To alien eyes, it looked like humans casually destroying and recreating matter using impossible technology. "They're not just threatening to destroy reality," Admiral Zulthak said to his officers. "They're showing us they can control it completely. They can make anything disappear whenever they want." Unknown to the aliens, their translation computers were making everything worse. When Dr. Park Hana said folded space, the computers translated, "It has broken reality." When she said faster than light travel, they translated it as beyond law, movement. The aliens thought the humans were bragging about breaking the fundamental laws of physics for fun. Meanwhile, in engineer Choi Minho's laboratory, something was going wrong. The small demonstration device had worked perfectly, but now it wouldn't shut down. The space folding effect was getting stronger instead of weaker. "Hyun, help me disconnect the power," Choi Minho called to his assistant. Lieutenant Nam Hyun ran to help, but before he could reach the power switch, the device created a small wormhole. The wormhole only lasted for 2 seconds, but it was long enough to swallow the alien observation drone that had been watching Earth. The drone disappeared completely, sucked into folded space and destroyed. On Admiral Zulthak's flagship, alarms screamed as they lost contact with their observation drone. "Report," Admiral Zulthak demanded. "Sir, our surveillance drone just vanished. One moment it was transmitting normally, the next moment it was gone. No debris, no energy signature, nothing." Admiral Zulthak felt a cold fear creep through his body. The humans had just demonstrated their ability to make anything disappear instantly. They could delete ships, planets, even entire star systems from existence. "Sir?" his communications officer said. "We're receiving another transmission from the humans." Dr. Park Hana's voice came through the speakers, sounding confused and apologetic. "We're sorry about your observation device. Our demonstration equipment malfunctioned and created an unexpected wormhole. We'll be happy to pay for any damages." To the aliens, this sounded like the humans were casually admitting they had just destroyed a council surveillance drone to show off their power. They weren't apologizing for an accident. They were bragging about a successful demonstration of their reality control weapons. "They destroyed our drone on purpose," Admiral Zulthak told his fleet commanders. "They're showing us what they can do to our ships." Back on Earth, engineer Choi Minho was having a very bad day. Not only had his demonstration equipment malfunctioned, but his team had also made a breakthrough that he was starting to think was a mistake. "Yon, look at these new calculations," he said, showing his assistant a computer screen full of equations. "I think we can build a version of the drive that doesn't need any protective shielding." Lieutenant Nam Hyun studied the numbers. You mean the ship could fold space without any safety barriers? Exactly. It would be much cheaper and faster to build. We could have hundreds of FTL ships within a few months instead of a few years. Nam Hyun looked worried. But what happens if something goes wrong without protective shielding? Choi Minho shrugged. Probably nothing too bad. Maybe the ship would get stretched across a few light years of space. But that's a small risk compared to the benefits. Their conversation was being recorded by the base's security system, which automatically transmitted important information to the government. Within an hour, the recording had been sent to the alien fleet as part of Earth's continuing effort to share information and build trust. When Admiral Zulthrak heard the translation, he nearly fainted. The humans were planning to build hundreds of reality weapons without any safety controls. They thought it was acceptable for their ships to be stretched across light years of space as long as it was cheaper. These humans are completely insane, he told his officers. They're willing to risk destroying space itself to save money on their weapons. Lieutenant Nam Hyun, meanwhile, had discovered something that made him very nervous. He had been monitoring alien communications, and the translation programs he was using were showing him disturbing information. Sir, he said to Engineer Choi Minho, I think the aliens are preparing to attack us. Their energy readings are increasing, and they're moving into battle formation. Choi Minho looked at the tactical display that Nam Hyun had put together. The alien ships were definitely preparing for combat. Why would they want to fight us? Choi Minho asked. We've been trying to be friendly and share our technology with them. Nam Hyun studied the alien fleet positions. Maybe they don't understand our technology. Or maybe they think it's dangerous. Dangerous? Choi Minho laughed. It's just a way to travel faster. What could be dangerous about that? He had no idea that the aliens thought he was building weapons that could destroy entire galaxies, and the aliens had no idea that Choi Minho thought he was building transportation for peaceful exploration. On Admiral Zulthak's ship, the final battle preparations were complete. Every weapon was charged, every shield was activated, and every ship in the fleet was ready to fight. All ships, this is Admiral Zulthak, he broadcast to his fleet. The humans have refused our reasonable demands for surrender. They have demonstrated their reality weapons and announced plans to mass produce them without safety controls. For the protection of all life in the galaxy, we must stop them now. The largest military force in galactic history prepared to attack Earth, believing they were saving the universe from a species of reality-destroying terrorists. On Earth, humanity prepared to defend their home world, believing they were protecting themselves from alien invaders who wanted to steal their peaceful transportation technology. Both sides were completely wrong about the other, but neither side realized it. The biggest war in galactic history was about to begin because of a translation error and some very bad timing. Captain Song Yuna was drinking her morning coffee when the alarm started screaming throughout Earth's orbital defense station. She nearly dropped her cup as she ran to the command center, where dozens of technicians were staring at their screens in shock. Report, she ordered, taking her position at the main command console. Captain, we have multiple contacts approaching from outside the solar system, her sensor officer announced. The computer count keeps changing, but we're seeing at least 50 large ships. Song Yuna looked at the main display screen. The approaching ships were massive, much larger than anything humans had ever built. They moved in perfect formation, like they had done this many times before. How long until they reach Earth? She asked. At their current speed, about 6 hours. Song Yuna felt her heart racing. This was first contact with alien life, but it didn't look friendly. She opened a communication channel to Earth's government and military headquarters. This is Captain Song Yuna at Defense Station Alpha. We have an alien fleet approaching Earth. I need orders. Immediately, within an hour, every important person on Earth was in emergency meetings. Dr. Kim Tae-ho and Dr. Park, Hana were brought to the main government building to explain their FTL drive project. Could your test flight have caused this? Asked General Park, the head of Earth's defense forces. Kim Tae-ho shook his head. I don't see how. We only traveled 50 light years and back. We didn't go near any other star systems. Maybe they detected our drive somehow, Dr. Park Hana suggested. If they have sensors that can pick up space-time distortions, they would have seen our test. As the alien fleet got closer, Captain Song Yuna tried to make contact. She broadcast messages in every language humans knew, then tried mathematical sequences and music. For hours, there was no response. Finally, when the alien ships reached the outer edge of Earth's solar system, a reply came. The voice that spoke was strange, made up of many different sounds that somehow formed words humans could understand. Primitive species of the third planet. We are the Galactic Preservation Council. You have created a weapon that threatens all life in the galaxy. You will surrender this weapon immediately and submit to Council authority. Captain Song Yuna looked around the command center. Everyone was staring at her, waiting for her to respond to humanity's first alien contact. This is Captain Song Yuna of Earth Defense. We don't have any weapons that threaten anyone. We've only just learned to travel faster than light. We want peaceful contact with your council. The alien voice came back quickly, sounding angry. Do not lie to us. Our sensors detected your reality weapon when you tested it. The damage you caused can be seen across 3 sectors of space. Dr. Kim Tae-ho took the microphone from Captain Song Yuna. This is Dr. Kim Tae-ho, creator of our FTL drive. I think there's been a misunderstanding. Our drive isn't a weapon. It's a way to travel between stars quickly. There was a long pause before the aliens responded. You claim that tearing holes in space-time is transportation? Yes, exactly. We create a bubble around our ship that folds space. The ship travels through folded space faster than light, but it doesn't actually move faster than light. Another pause, longer this time. When the aliens spoke again, their voice sounded even more concerned. Show us your mathematical proofs for this. Transportation system. Kim Tae-ho spent the next 2 hours transmitting his equations and theoretical work to the alien fleet. He included everything: the quantum field calculations, the dark matter manipulation formulas, and the space-time folding theories. On the lead alien ship, Admiral Zulthak stared at the human mathematics with growing horror. To his species, mathematics was sacred. Numbers didn't lie, and these numbers showed that the humans had created something impossible. Communications officer, he said, translate these equations for the council scientists. The translation took hours, but when it was finished, every alien scientist in the fleet came to the same conclusion. The humans had written instructions for destroying reality itself. Their transportation method required energy levels that could crack planets. Their space-time folding technique could create permanent tears in the universe. They're not just claiming it's transportation, Admiral Zulthak told his officers. They actually believe it. They think they've invented a way to travel safely using forces that could destroy entire star systems. Sir, his science officer said, what if they're right? What if this really is just transportation to them? Admiral Zulthak looked at the equations again. No species is crazy enough to use this as transportation. Look at these energy requirements. Look at the space-time stress calculations. One small mistake and their ship would become a black hole. Back on Earth, Dr. Park Hana noticed that the aliens had stopped responding to their transmissions. Maybe they're discussing our offer of peaceful contact, she suggested hopefully. Then Commander Lee Jun, who was still recovering from his test flight, made a mistake that changed everything. He was in the government building for medical tests when a reporter asked him about the alien fleet. Are you worried about the aliens? The reporter asked. Lee Jun, still feeling confused from his journey through folded space, answered honestly. Not really. Dr. Kim says we'll have a whole fleet of FTL ships within a year. Once we can build them quickly, every human will be able to travel to the stars. The interview was broadcast live, and the alien fleet intercepted the transmission. On Admiral Zulthak's ship, the translation computers worked frantically to decode the human language. When they finished, alarms started ringing throughout the fleet. Admiral, his communications officer reported, the humans just announced they plan to mass-produce their reality weapons. They want to give one to every member of their species. Admiral Zulthak felt his 3 hearts stop beating for a moment. A species that wanted to give reality-destroying weapons to every individual was beyond dangerous. They were insane. Send a message to all ships, he ordered. Prepare for combat. These humans are too dangerous to negotiate with. On Earth, Captain Song Yuna watched in horror as the alien ships powered up their weapons. Energy readings spiked across her sensors. All Earth ships, this is Captain Song, we have incoming hostiles. Prepare for battle. The small fleet of human ships moved to intercept the aliens, but they were outnumbered 50-1. Earth's most advanced weapons were primitive compared to the alien technology. Dr. Kim Tae-ho grabbed the microphone again. Please, there's been a misunderstanding. We don't want to fight anyone. But the aliens had stopped listening. To them, the humans had just revealed, themselves as a species of reality terrorists who wanted to arm every individual with weapons that could destroy star systems. The first shots of the war began when Admiral Zulthak's flagship fired a warning blast across the bow of Captain Song Yuna's ship. The energy beam was so powerful that it melted a crater in a nearby asteroid. "Last warning, humans," Admiral Zulthak transmitted. "Surrender your reality weapons now, or we will take them by force." Captain Song Yuna looked at her small fleet and the massive alien armada. She had minutes to prevent a war that would destroy humanity, but she had no idea how to convince the aliens that humanity's greatest achievement wasn't a weapon at all. High Counselor Vextiller had lived for 800 years, but he had never seen readings like these. His 6 arms moved quickly across the control panels in his private office, checking the data again and again. Each time the numbers were the same. Someone had just ripped a hole through space and time itself. The emergency alarm echoed through the massive space station that served as the Galactic Council headquarters. Ships from dozens of different worlds were already arriving, their captains demanding to know what had happened. The council hadn't called an emergency meeting in over 2 centuries. "Sir," his assistant Kailnara said, her voice shaking with fear. "We have confirmation from monitoring stations in 7 different sectors." The space-time distortion was real. Vextiller looked at the star map on his wall. Red warning lights marked the locations where their sensors had detected the damage. The readings formed a straight line across 50 light-years of space, like someone had drawn a line through reality with a knife. "How many species know about this?" he asked. "All of them, sir. The distortion was too big to hide. Even the quiet ones have broken their silence to ask what happened." Vextiller felt a chill run through his body. The quiet ones hadn't spoken to anyone in 5,000 years. If they were worried, then this was worse than he thought. The main council chamber filled quickly with representatives from every major species in the galaxy. The ethereal collective sent Ambassador Kitharon, a being of pure energy who rarely left their home dimension. The metal lords arrived in their mechanical bodies, their electronic voices buzzing with concern. Even the tree speakers came, though they usually ignored anything that happened faster than the seasons. "Friends," Vextiller began, his voice carrying to every corner of the huge chamber, "we face a threat unlike any in our recorded history. Someone has created a weapon that can damage space itself." Ambassador Kytheron's energy form flickered with alarm. "Show us the data." The lights dimmed and a holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed the path of destruction that Li Jun's test flight had created. To the aliens, it looked like someone had fired a massive weapon through 3 sectors of space. "The energy signature is unlike anything we've seen," Vextiller continued. "Whoever did this has technology that makes our most advanced weapons look like toys." General Thokran of the warrior clan stood up, his massive form casting shadows across the floor. "Where did this attack come from?" "Our sensors traced it to a small system on the edge of the spiral arm. The system has only one inhabited planet. The species there calls themselves humans." A wave of confused sounds filled the chamber. None of them had heard of humans before. "What do we know about these humans?" asked Elder Samara of the Ancient Circle. Vextiller activated another display. It showed pictures of Earth and humans that their long-range scouts had taken years ago. The humans looked small and weak compared to most galactic species. "They are a young species," Vextiller explained. "They have only just learned to leave their home planet. Our files say they are primitive and aggressive. They fight wars among themselves and destroy their own environment. Primitive species don't build reality weapons," Ambassador Kitharon pointed out. "No, they don't," Vextiller agreed, "which means either our information is wrong, or they have received help from someone else." The chamber erupted in worried discussions. If a primitive species had built such a weapon, who had helped them and why? Several species had enemies who might want to see the galaxy burn. "What if they didn't mean to create a weapon?" asked Dr. Velthorn of the Science Guild. "What if this was an accident?" General Thokran laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "Accidents don't tear holes in space across 50 light-years. This was a test. They're preparing for war. Or they're preparing to sell their weapon to the highest bidder," added Counselor Nexavia of the Trade Federation. "A weapon like this could destroy entire fleets." Elder Samara raised her hand for silence. "We need more information. Send a diplomatic mission to contact these humans. Find out what they want." "No," General Thokran said firmly. "We should attack them now." before they can use their weapon again. One shot from that thing could destroy any of our worlds. The General is right, agreed Admiral Zergoth of the Defense Fleet. We can't negotiate with someone who has the power to unmake reality. They're too dangerous to live. Ambassador Kitharon's energy form pulsed with concern. We don't even know if they understand what they've created. If we attack them without warning, we could start a war that destroys the galaxy. The war has already started, General Thokron replied. They fired the first shot when they tested their weapon. Vextaler looked around the chamber at all the frightened and angry faces. In 800 years, he had never seen the Council so united in their fear. Species that had been enemies for thousands of years were now agreeing with each other. We will vote, he announced. All in favor of immediate military action? More than half the representatives raised their hands, tentacles, or energy fields. All in favor of diplomatic contact first? Only a few hands went up. The motion passes. We will send a military fleet to the human system. Their orders are to demand the immediate surrender of their reality weapon. If the humans refuse, the fleet is authorized to use any force necessary. As the meeting ended, ships began launching from the Council station. Fleets that had never worked together before joined forces, united by their fear of humanity's new drive. The warrior clans provided battleships. The Metal Lords sent their most advanced technology. The Ethereal Collective offered their reality-bending powers. Within hours, the largest military force in galactic history was heading toward Earth. On Earth, engineer Choi Minho worked late in his laboratory, improving the design of the FTL drive. He had ideas for making it safer and more efficient. Dr. Kim Tae-ho wanted to build 10 more test ships within the month. This will change everything, Choi Minho said to his assistant. We'll be able to explore the whole galaxy. Maybe we'll even meet other intelligent species. He had no idea that other intelligent species were already on their way to meet him, and they weren't coming to make friends. The largest fleet in galactic history moved through space toward Earth, carrying enough firepower to crack planets. Their commanders had orders to stop the human threat by any means necessary. But as they traveled, none of them realized that they were about to make the biggest mistake in galactic history. They thought they were preventing a war. Instead, they were about to start one based on a misunderstanding that would change the galaxy forever. Dr. Kim Tae-ho stared at the numbers on his screen for the 10th time that morning. Something was wrong with his calculations, but not in a bad way. The equations were perfect, almost too perfect. He rubbed his tired eyes and looked around the underground laboratory beneath New Seoul. The place hummed with the sound of machines that never stopped working. Hana, come look at this, he called to his colleague across the room. Dr. Park Hana walked over, her coffee cup steaming in the cold air of the lab. She'd been working on quantum theory for 15 years, but she had never seen Kim Tae-ho look so excited and scared at the same time. What did you find now? She asked, setting her cup down carefully next to his keyboard. Kim Tae-ho pointed at the screen. I was studying how dark matter moves when we mess with it using quantum fields. Look at these patterns. Hana leaned closer to read the data. Her eyes grew wide as she understood what she was seeing. This can't be right. Are you saying we can fold space? Not just fold it, Kim Tae-ho said, his voice shaking a little. We can make a bubble around a spaceship and push it through folded space. The ship would travel faster than light, but it wouldn't actually move faster than light inside the bubble. Hana stepped back from the computer. Tae-ho, do you know how much energy this would need? Kim Tae-ho nodded slowly. About the same as a small star puts out in 1 second. We would need to create tiny black holes and control them perfectly. One mistake and the ship would be crushed into nothing. That's insane, Hana whispered. No one would be crazy enough to try this. But even as she said it, both scientists knew that someone would try. Humans always tried the dangerous things first and worried about safety later. It was why they had nuclear power before they had safe nuclear power. It was why they flew to the moon before they knew if they could get back. 3 weeks later, Commander Lee Jun sat in the pilot's seat of the test ship. The ship was small, just big enough for one person and the new drive system. Engineers had built it in secret in the deepest part of the underground base. The drive took up most of the ship's space, leaving room only for basic life support and controls. Are you sure about this, June? Dr. Park Hana asked through the radio. She stood in the control room watching dozens of screens that showed every part of the test ship. Lee Jun checked his safety straps one more time. The computer says there's a 27% chance I'll survive this. Those are better odds than my grandfather had when he fought in the war. That's not exactly comforting, Hana replied. Kim Taeho's voice came through the speakers. All systems are ready. The drive will activate in 60 seconds. June, remember to keep your hands away from the manual controls. Let the computer handle everything. Lee Jun looked out the small window of his ship. Earth looked peaceful from up here, floating in space like a blue marble. He wondered if he would ever see it again. The countdown began. 10 seconds, Kim Taeho announced. 9, 8, 7. Lee Jun closed his eyes and thought about his family. 3, 2, 1. Activating drive. The universe exploded around Lee Jun. He felt like he was being stretched and compressed at the same time. Colors that had no names flashed past his window. Time moved backward and forward and sideways all at once. His body felt like it was in 1,000 places but also nowhere at all. Then, suddenly, everything stopped. Lee Jun opened his eyes and looked around. Space looked normal again, but different. The stars were in new places. His radio crackled with static. Control, this is Lee Jun. Can anyone hear me? Nothing but static answered him. Control, please respond. Where am I? After a long wait, Kim Taeho's voice came through, very weak and full of noise. Jun, thank God you're alive. Can you see any familiar stars? Lee Jun looked out his window and studied the star patterns. He had memorized many constellations for this mission. After several minutes, he found what he was looking for. I can see the Bright Crown constellation, but it's huge. It looks 100 times bigger than it should. In the control room, Dr. Park Hana and Kim Taeho looked at each other with amazement and terror. Jun, Hana said into the radio, the Bright Crown is 50 light-years away from Earth. You just traveled 50 light-years in 3 seconds. The control room fell silent. Everyone stared at the screens, trying to understand what had just happened. They had expected the drive to work, but not this well. This was beyond their wildest dreams. How do I get back? Lee Jun asked. Kim Taeho checked his calculations quickly. The return coordinates are already programmed. Just press the blue button when you're ready. Lee Jun looked at the blue button on his control panel. His hands were shaking, but not from fear. He was shaking from excitement. Humanity had just broken the biggest rule in the universe. They had traveled faster than light. Activating return sequence, he announced. Once again, the universe went crazy around him. When it stopped, he could see Earth's moon in the distance. Control, I'm back. The drive works perfectly. Down in the control room, people cheered and hugged each other. They had done something impossible. They had built a machine that could take humans to the stars in seconds instead of thousands of years. But far away from Earth, in places humans had never seen, alien machines detected something terrible. Space itself had been torn and twisted. Energy readings spiked across 3 sectors of the galaxy. Ancient warning systems that had been silent for millions of years suddenly started screaming. On the planet Kethmore, High Counselor Vextaler looked at the emergency reports with growing horror. Someone had just damaged the fabric of reality itself. Someone had used a weapon so dangerous that it could destroy entire star systems. Call an emergency meeting, he ordered his assistants. Contact every member of the council. Tell them we have a crisis that threatens all life in the galaxy. As the council prepared for their emergency meeting, humans on Earth celebrated their greatest achievement. They had no idea that they had just become the most feared species in the galaxy. Dr. Kim Taeho began working on plans to build more ships with the new drive. Soon, humans would be traveling to distant worlds and exploring the galaxy. He had no idea that the galaxy was preparing to stop them by any means necessary. Dr. Kim Taeho stared at the tactical display showing hundreds of alien ships preparing to attack Earth. His FTL drive had been designed to explore the galaxy peacefully, but now it might be the only thing that, could save humanity from destruction. There has to be a way to prove we're not a threat. He said to the emergency council that had gathered in the command center. Captain Song Yuna shook her head. We've tried everything. They think our drive is a weapon and nothing we say changes their minds. Then maybe we need to show them instead of tell them, Dr. Kim Taeho said quietly. Everyone in the room turned to look at him. What do you mean? Asked Dr. Park Hana. Kim Taeho pointed to a section of the tactical display that showed something new. Earth's deep space sensors had detected a massive object moving toward their solar system from a different direction than the alien fleet. That's a rogue black hole, he explained. It's small, but it's moving fast. Our computers say it will pass through this system in about 6 hours. It won't hit any planets, but its gravity will mess up all the orbits. Engineer Choi Minho studied the black hole's path. If that thing gets close to Earth, the tidal forces will cause earthquakes and tsunamis. Millions of people could die, unless we move it, Kim Tae-ho said. The room fell silent. Everyone stared at him like he had lost his mind. Move a black hole? Dr. Park Hana asked. Tae-ho, that's impossible. Not if we use the FTL drive, Kim Tae-ho replied. We can create controlled space-time distortions around the black hole. Instead of folding space for travel, we fold it to push the black hole away from our system. Captain Song Yuna looked at the alien fleet, then at the approaching black hole. You want to save the aliens from a cosmic disaster they don't even know about? It's the only way to prove our drive isn't a weapon, Kim Tae-ho said. If we use it to save their fleet instead of destroying it, maybe they'll understand. Commander Lee Jun, who had been quiet during the discussion, stood up slowly. He was still recovering from his first FTL flight, and the doctors said he shouldn't pilot anything for at least a month. I'll do it, he said. Jun, no, Dr. Park Hana protested. You're not ready for another flight. The temporal displacement from your first trip is still affecting your brain. Lee Jun smiled weakly. My brain feels fine. Besides, I'm the only pilot who has experience with the drive system. Engineer Choi Minho had been working frantically on his computer while they talked. I can modify the drive to create pushing waves instead of travel bubbles. But the energy requirements will be enormous. We'll need to channel power from every reactor on Earth. Do it, Captain Song Yuna ordered. How long do you need? 2 hours to modify the drive, 1 hour to install it on a ship, Choi Minho replied. As the humans worked to prepare their desperate plan, Lieutenant Nam Hyun noticed something strange on his sensors. Sir, there's something else out there. It's big, and it's moving toward the alien fleet. He showed his readings to Captain Song Yuna, who immediately understood the danger. We need to warn the aliens about the black hole, she said. They won't believe us, Dr. Park Hana pointed out. They think everything we say is a lie. Then we'll show them, Captain Song Yuna decided. She opened a communication channel to the alien fleet. Admiral Zulthak, this is Captain Song Yuna. We've detected a rogue black hole approaching your fleet. Our computers show it will reach your position in 4 hours. On the alien flagship, Admiral Zulthak listened to the human transmission with suspicion. Check our sensors, he ordered his science officer. After a few minutes, the science officer reported back with alarm. Sir, there is a massive gravitational anomaly approaching from the outer system. It appears to be a small black hole. Admiral Zulthak studied the sensor readings. The black hole was definitely real, and it was heading straight for his fleet's position. Is this another human weapon? He asked. No, sir. The gravitational signature is natural. It's a rogue black hole that has wandered into this system. Admiral Zulthak felt confused. If the humans had wanted to destroy his fleet, why would they warn him about a natural disaster? Sir, his communications officer said, the humans are transmitting again. Captain Song Yuna's voice came through the speakers. Admiral, we know you don't trust us, but we want to help. We're going to use our FTL drive to push the black hole away from your fleet. That's impossible, Admiral Zulthak replied. No technology can move a black hole. Watch us, came the human response. 2 hours later, Commander Lee Jun sat in the cockpit of a modified FTL ship. The drive system had been completely rebuilt to create pushing waves instead of travel bubbles. Every power plant on Earth was connected to the ship's energy systems. Are you ready, Jun? Dr. Kim Tae-ho asked through the radio. Lee Jun looked at the black hole on his sensors. It was small as black holes went, but it still had more mass than Earth's moon compressed into a space smaller than a city. As ready as anyone can be for pushing around a black hole, he replied. Remember, you're not trying to move it completely. Engineer Choi Minho explained. Just change its path enough so it misses the alien fleet and our planets. Lee Jun activated the modified FTL drive. Instead of creating a bubble around his ship, the drive created waves of folded space that pushed against the black hole's event horizon. From the alien fleet's perspective, they watched in amazement as the humans casually grabbed a black hole with invisible forces and started pushing it around like it was a ball. How are they doing that? Admiral Zulthak's science officer whispered. I don't know, Admiral Zulthak replied. Our best technology can barely detect black holes, and they're moving one like it weighs nothing. The black hole's path began to change. Slowly, the massive object curved away from the alien fleet and toward empty space. Lee Jun worked for 3 hours using carefully controlled space-time distortions to guide the black hole to safety. When he was finished, the black hole was moving harmlessly away from both the alien fleet and Earth's solar system. "It's done," Lee Jun reported. "The black hole will pass through empty space and leave the system without hitting anything." On Admiral Zulthak's ship, every alien was staring at their sensors in shock. High Counselor Vexteller, who had arrived with the fleet, spoke for the first time since the battle preparations began. "They just saved our entire fleet from destruction," he said quietly. "But why?" Admiral Zulthak asked. "If they wanted to destroy us, the black hole would have done it for them." Dr. Park Hana's voice came through the communication system, answering his question. "Because we don't want to destroy anyone. Our FTL drive was built for exploration and helping people. We're sorry if we scared you, but we never meant any harm." High Counselor Vextaler looked at the sensor readings that showed the black hole's new, safe trajectory. Then he looked at the readings from the human FTL tests. Suddenly everything made sense. "Admiral," he said, "I don't think these humans understand what they've built. To them, this is just transportation technology. They have no idea they're casually manipulating forces that our civilizations consider godlike." Admiral Zulthak studied the data from the black hole rescue operation. The humans had used more energy in 3 hours than most civilizations produced in a year. They had controlled space-time itself like it was a simple tool. "Sir," his communications officer said, "Captain Song Yuna is requesting permission to visit our flagship for face-to-face talks." Admiral Zulthak thought for a moment. These humans had just demonstrated that they could destroy his entire fleet whenever they wanted. But instead of attacking, they had saved his ships from a natural disaster. "Tell them yes," he decided. "But I want to meet the pilot who just moved a black hole." 1 week later, the Galactic Council held an emergency session to discuss humanity's application for membership. The debate was short. "They moved a black hole to save our fleet," High Counselor Vextaler pointed out. "I think we can trust them." "But they're completely insane," protested General Thokran. "They think it's normal to travel by folding space-time. They build technology that could destroy reality and use it for weekend trips." "Exactly," Vextalar replied, "which means they're perfect for handling problems that are too dangerous for sensible species to deal with." The Council voted to grant humanity associate membership with a special classification. Cosmic Emergency Response Team. Dr. Park Hana became Earth's first galactic ambassador, while Engineer Choi Minho was assigned to teach other species how to safely handle impossible technology. Lieutenant Nam Hyun received humanity's first official council mission, using their insane FTL technology to relocate an entire star system before it collided with a dark matter storm. As he prepared for the mission, Nam Hyun couldn't help but smile. Humans had gone from unknown primitives to the galaxy's emergency repair service in less than a month. Just another day saving the universe, he said to himself as he activated the FTL. Drive the galaxy would never be the same.